Okay, here's what you're going to need for the project today. 3 of the little Charlie Brown iridescent trees from Dollartree. I got this beautiful snowball from the Walmart. It came with a bow and some greenery, and it already has fuzziness on it, which is awesome. You're going to need a couple of these beads for the snowman's face. You're going to need spray paint, orange, black, and white. You're going to need glue sticks. You're going to need tin foil for the carrot nose. I have this Folgers can that is going to be his top hat. I have poster board, and I made a circle bigger than the can. Well, it's not a can, it's plastic, so that it could be his top hat. You're going to need one of these little baskets. You're going to need some fabric. Now, for this basket, it comes with this little thing around it. Okay? What I did was I pulled from the bottom up, which helped me get it all off for the most part. It also has a little gold belt buckle. I cut in the middle of this to take it off, and then I hot glued it. Now we're going to be cutting the bottom of this, and if you cut it and don't have it glued, then what's going to happen is it'll fall apart. So I already hot glued here. These are the items I painted. I painted the basket. Doesn't have to be done so much on the inside. I painted little beads for the eyes and the mouth. I spray painted the nose. Here it is. It's tin foil with orange paint. I painted the can or plastic container for Folgers, and I painted the black ring for his top hat, which will be just like that. So now to get started with our assembly. You're going to need 3 of these trees, the white ones, and you're going to need pipe cleaners. They have these little legs. You only need a set of 3 of the little legs. I have to get my pipe cleaners. So here's one. You're okay, Iggy. Go lay down, honey. It's cold here. He does not want to go outside. Again, my fault. Here's the other tree, and then the third tree. Do not need all of these legs. Don't need them. Have no use for them. You can keep them for later, for another project. I just don't need them for this project. I'm going to unscrew 2 of these on the bottom of my tree. And I want 1 tree, which is going to be my base tree, to keep the peg thing on the bottom. So I'm going to fluff up the tree in the front, but not the back. I'm going to bring everything to the front, not to the back. Now I'm going to take this tree and I'm going to put it up a little bit from the bottom of this tree, and I'm going to zip tie that tree on. Zip tie. Iggy, no eating my coat, please. Oh, this pig is going to be the death of me. No, eating my coat. No, you're not allowed to eat my coat. Please don't eat my coat. It's hanging up. I don't know why it's hanging down so low. No, Iggy. So here's the one zip tie. And if you notice, it's kind of floppy, but we're going to fix that as we go. Then I'm going to take the other tree and put it on this side about the same height as the other one. And zip tie both of them to this one zip tie. Put this one around this way. You don't want them in the front so much, but I'd like them somewhat even because I'm not ready to fluff it up yet. So I have now zip tied the 3 trees together at the bottom. I'm going to get my scissors, here they are, and cut these 2 red pieces off. And I'm going to zip tie as I go, fluffing up my trees. So all I'm doing is fluffing them up, and you could take a branch or 2 and bring it around to help hold them securely together. I'll show you again as I go up. So you're fluffing your tree. It doesn't have to be perfect because right now we're not ready for that. I'm just trying to get them together as best I can. So I take one of these longer ones and wrap it around all 3 of the trees. So that helps hold it also firmly. So now they're not wiggling around. I'm wiggling, but they're not wiggling. Now, I'm going to take my tree and put it in my basket. Just like that. Then I'm going to take the 3 bottom pieces that we kept and put them on. Just like that. And push so that it's secure up inside of here. I'm going to add some hot glue around the edges where I have the little legs. For some reason my hot glue gun is not getting warm fast enough. Excuse me for a second. Just want to check the cords. That should be better. So as you can see, the legs go up against the basket. Once my hot glue gun starts getting warmer, I'm going to glue here, here, and here, and glue up here to make sure that this is secure around my base. So this is what it's going to look like. While it's heating up, I'm going to move the camera back and start fluffing up my tree. Now the top is not secured together, and I will use a couple of the branches to go around and possibly a zip tie But right now I'm just trying to bring the branches down while I'm waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here, is just going up the tree, separating the branches, and I will be securing it at the top after I get them away from the middle bracket that will, yeah, just like that it'll be when I'm done. But I'm trying to move the branches out of the way for right now so that I may do that. So here they are, and I'm going to take a black zip tie and use the black zip tie to hold it together. It's a lot thicker than the red one. So I have a thicker black-red zip tie, and I'm going to secure all 3 trees with this one zip tie. Trying to make it so you can see what I'm doing. Also, when my glue gun gets heated up, that will also help secure my tree when I get to glue the bottom. So I'm pulling this extremely tight for all 3 of the trees to be together. Now's your chance to make sure that it's straight also before you glue it in, because I noticed mine was not. So now it's very secure. I'm going to see, hopefully, my glue gun. Ah, yes, it is ready. So I am putting a decent amount of glue on my tree at the bottom to secure it inside of my little basket. Now I'm going to start fluffing my tree up as best I can, and I'm going to add some glue also down at the bottom, because I do not want my tree to go anywhere. So right now I'm gluing around the base of the basket and my trees. And when it's not extremely hot, I'm using my finger to smear it around. So far, you have the 3 trees hooked together and in the bottom of the base. So now I'm going to fluff my tree up, see which side I like better, and whatever side I like the best will be the front where my little snowman will take shape. Don't forget you wrap some of these branches around the bottom of the tree, so make sure that they're secure also. So I am just fluffing my little friend up here. All around. I want to make sure he's straight. Now you can paint that black zip tie if it bothers you. Or you could get a white one. But I suggest if you're going to paint it, you paint it once it's on the tree. Okay, so here's our tree. I don't know which side I like the best. He's a little skewed. Here he is. Now, here's his head. I'm going to have to put a hole in his head, make this bigger, so that I can put it on top of the tree. I'm still messing with the branches. You notice with trees, you can continually find something that's not right and have to continually fix it over and over and over again to make it perfect. Basically, I want to put my head right on here. There's the pipe. So I'm going to move some of this out of the way. And take my scissors. There is a hole in here. And I'm going to just wiggle my scissors around a bit. Because it's a styrofoam ball. That's all, with white fabric on it. I'm going to lift it up a little higher. And just want to make sure. A little bit higher for you to see. There it is. So I'm going to put glue in this hole. Right here. And then I'm going to insert onto my tree. Make sure all your branches are out of the way before you do that. So what I'm doing is I'm putting them like downward. And I'm going to put some glue in the middle, some glue up top, take my snowman head, and put it on top. Oh, whoops. There we go. There's his little head. Once it dries, it will be secure. So I want to give that a little time before I let it go as I'm fixing the branches. I would like to kind of hold his little head on there while it sits there. Still not sure which side I'd like to be the front of my snowman yet. But I want to hold on to his head while I am moving the branches around. And you could flip it over and add more hot glue, E6000. These are entirely too long because they're the long ones at the top. I'm going to cut those off. Cut this one. Just want to make them a little shorter. I would like to make his head a little more secure. So I am going to turn upside down and add a generous amount of glue on my head. There we go. I'm going to leave that sit for a little bit. Now, you're going to need a pipe cleaner. Because we got to make his arms. I'm thinking to put his arms right around the spot where the black is. I'm going to take 2 zip ties, not zip ties, my bad, pipe cleaners, and put them together for his little arms. So I put 2 together. And thinking about here, now I have white fabric, which I hope my cat's not sitting on. Yes, of course. Here's my white fabric. So I am going to take my fabric, put it on the table, and I just need it long enough for his little arms. I'm thinking I'm going to cut on this crease right here, because this is going to be covering his arms. I'm just eyeballing it. This was a napkin that I've had for a very long time, and I figured I could get some use out of it. Here's his Chanel arms. I believe. Okay. I'm going to fold this over, put a little glue down here, put a little glue on this end, I want to have enough room to put mittens on his hands, on his stem. So I'm going to take a little bit off this end and then check the other end and see, because I want to make sure you'll be able to see his little mittens. So I'm going to glue again down here, because I cut off what I glued. I think that's more than enough for his little mittens. Maybe a little more down this end. I'd like to be safe than sorry. Now I'm going to run a bead of hot glue down the fabric and put my pipe cleaner right in the glue. Try to line it up as best you can so it's even on both sides, and then flip it over. Okay? And then hot glue it. So this is how the fabric looks right now for his arms. And we're going to make little mittens, and we're going to put some cotton balls to fluff up the mittens. So I have this fabric, if I can excuse my cat. I have this fabric. It's buffalo check, and I am going to make his mittens. I'm going to try to anyway, make his mittens. I don't know how big they're going to be, but I'm just going to wing it. And I'm going to just try to start cutting out some mittens. So don't forget your thumb. You need a thumb. You need a thumb. And if you don't like how it looks, you can always use what's the word? Poster board or a piece of paper to make your mittens. Now, once you like your mittens, then that's great. You don't have to worry about it. But if you don't like your mittens, which I apparently have a pointy thumb. Nobody wants a pointy thumbed mitten. I sure don't. You want to be able to distinguish the thumb. I think that's not bad for just eyeballing it. I'm going to see if I think that's too big. Actually, I think that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to cut from what I have, cut it out. His other mitten for his other hand. So I fold it over, and now I'm going to take my mitten and I'll just take one and start cutting. I think I'm going to mess with his thumb when it's all over, once it's all cut out, so that I don't cut it off, because I definitely don't want to do that. So here's the one mitten, here's the other one. I'm going to cut this in half. I have to make this smaller because it's way too big on the top, but I'm going to work on his thumb right now. Don't mind my cat. He thinks I have something fuzzy for him and just wants to be here. His name is Kit Kitty. No, I do not live on a farm, but my animals think they rule the house. And my son's the one that pretty much brings all the animals home, except for the pig. My husband brought the pig home. Oh my goodness, Kit, you're going to have to move, love. Kitty, I don't have anything for you, honey. Thank you. Keep moving. Thank you. These thumbs aren't so bad. These are very tiny thumbs. So I might take one of each of the thumbs. Let me think. What side? This side, this side. And then this side, this side. Okay, so here's our mittens. And I'm going to stuff them with cotton balls. So basically, I'm going to start gluing down my mittens. Just like that. I left the top open. I have some cotton balls, and I'm going to put them on the inside of my mitten. As it's drying, maybe I should give it a couple minutes. But you know me, I can't wait. I'm a pain in the tush. I should give it a couple minutes because it is not staying closed. So you fluff them out a little bit. You stick it in. I think 2 might be too much, so maybe 1.5 of the cotton balls. Just wanted to give it a little dimension, the cotton ball. So I'm going to glue down here. That is an awful lot of glue. And then glue up top. And just pressing it together. Try to line them up as best as possible. Just burned my finger, as you can see. Couldn't get that off me fast enough. So here's the one mitten. And I'm going to give it a couple minutes to dry. And I'm going to start on the other mitten right now. I didn't burn my finger bad, which I'm very happy about. I'm thinking I'll do the bottom half down here of my glove. Might be easier. And then put the top piece on it, pat it down, give it a couple minutes, a couple seconds to dry. You can always fix it up while you're letting it dry to try and make them as even as possible. This gives you some time to do that while it's drying. I really like that thumb, so I'm not touching the thumb. So here it is. Now we're going to stick a half a cotton ball and then a whole cotton ball inside the little mitten, and then glue the bottom. Just like that, glue the bottom. Okay? Here's his little mittens. So his mittens are done. Here's his hands. Or his arms. Now I'm going to put the arms around my tree pretty much around where the black zip tie is. So I want to go in through the tree. Here's his little arms, and I'm going to put the mittens on, which I'm going to, I shouldn't have closed this, but I did. I'm going to open it back up, open the bottom back up like this. I'm going to put glue on the inside of my glove, my mitten. So I want his thumb upwards. The thumb up in the air. So shove that little black pipe cleaner in there and squunch it in there and squunch up his clothing, and there's his one mitten. Do not want to burn myself, so here's one mitten hand right here, and now I'm going to do the other hand because I'm thinking he can hold something. Not exactly sure what he's going to be holding, but I think he could be holding something. Opening this back up, I should have never shut it. I'm going to put some hot glue on the inside, and then take his little arm. You want the thumbs facing up. Stick that pipe cleaner right in there, and chuck his little sleeve in there, and then close it. And here's his little hand so far. They're going to dry for right now. I'm just going to give him a couple minutes. I have these ornaments I'm going to put around him also, and I am going to start gluing his hat, his top hat. I'm going to glue around the edge of they used to be cans. This is plastic. Coffee can. And set that on. Here's his hat. Right like that. I have some embellishments for his hat. And with the fabric I have, the buffalo check, I'm going to make him a scarf. So I'm going to cut the black and the red strip down. So I'd rather have it too long than not long enough. And I'm also going to give him a little strap to go around his hat. So cutting this for right now. Going to cut 3 of the squares over. Basically cutting 3 strips total, 1 for around the hat, 2 for his scarf. Just want to make sure I have a long enough strip for around his hat, and I do not. Here's the strip for around his hat. Where the indents are is going to be the back of his hat. So put a little bit of hot glue on here. Pull it tight. Put some more hot glue on here. Pull it tight so that it's secure. This also hides where you have glued on the bottom. So here's your hat. Let's see. I'm going to put a hole in here so that it will fit on his head. So I'm going to take my scissors, and since it's foam board, it's very easy. I don't want to cut too big. I'd rather start out small. I just want it to be able to fit on his little head. Doesn't have to be perfect because you're not really going to see it. So far that's my hole. And a little bigger than that. So right now I'm just folding pieces it over on his hat. That's great. Okay. So before we get to finishing putting his hat on, we have his scarf. Here's his scarf. And it can go around his neck. Not very long though, that bums me out. Here's a scarf. It's not very, very long. But I'm going to fray the ends. I folded it in half. I'm going to fray the ends of both sides. And we can still use this, even though it's not very long. So I am just cutting little strips into the fabric to make it a scarf for our snowman. Other side. I'm going to put some hot glue on this so that it stays together. So you want to fold it over gently, line it up, pat it down. Here's what the end looks like. Take it, wrap it around your little man. I think that looks awesome. So I'm going to put, here's what it looks like. I'm going to put some hot glue right about here so that it's secure. I'm going to put his little buttons on. I had bought buttons. I'm going to use 3 buttons for his little belly here. Hot glue, just a little bit, right in the center on the tree itself. Can you see that? Let me pull it down some. Glue in the center of where the little dots are. Get a branch that's pretty much in the middle. Put it there. Hot glue. And then I'm thinking one more, but maybe not. I think these right in the center. 2 might be just enough. So here's his face and his scarf. I need more glue. If you're wondering why he's shaking, my cat is shaking the table. Now I have this pick that I got on the head here. So I'm going to use that on my hat. Hot glue, generous amount, put it on my hat, hold it on there for a couple seconds. Okay, so here's his hat with the embellishment on it. I'm going to put that up some more and hot glue on the inside of his hat where we put the hole for his head. And I'm going to try to put it a little askew. So here's his hat, but I'm trying to hold that on a little bit so that it gets firm. So there's his hat. Now we have to do his eyes, his nose, and his mouth, which is where those little black beads come in. Here is his carrot nose, and I am going to put that on with my hot glue, a generous amount, and I'm going to hold this on for a couple seconds. There we go. There's his nose. I think he's coming together nicely. Now there's holes in these. I don't like it. So I'm going to do his eyes like this, sideways. Put some hot glue on. Take his little peeper, his little eyeball. Put it right there. Here's his other eye. Right here. Put some glue on it. Try to make sure I line it up correctly. And here's his other little eye. So there's his two eyes. And then I have quite a few for his mouth. So I'm going to do them sideways, like we just did. And I'm going to start in the middle-ish. And then another one. I'm going to start curving them a little bit as they go. I have a lot of little frays on here. Little wispies. His mouth's a little askew. So that's how his mouth looks. I have these ornaments, and I'm going to put them, like his little hands, right about here, I'm thinking. Look at his cute little hands. And then I'm going to put some ornaments on his tree. So I took off the little beads, the thing that would hang it, and I am just putting hot glue, and then I am putting it on the branch, just like that. So just put them anywhere you'd like, where you think they'll look good. I don't have a lot of different colors. Most of them are red and gold, which I wish they were not, but they are. So I'll come back as soon as this is done. Here he is, the most awesome, fantastic, fabuloso tree snowman you have ever seen. Is he not perfection as you know it? There's my cat. So here's the back of his head. Here's everything. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video. Shout out to my friend Chris, my friend Carrie, my sister Dorothea, and my niece Sarah. Leave me a comment below and I'll give you a shout out. Have a blessed day and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.